Welcome back. This past week was unseasonably cold here in Idaho, so I decided to get us all stocked up on some sourdough bread. I'll even bake some bread for the freezer before the warm weather comes. And so we had quite a bit of sourdough discard to use. So I also made some of our favorite sourdough discard recipes, and I hope you enjoy watching what we made with our sourdough discard, and I hope you're inspired. Whenever I feed my sourdough starter, I remove my discard from the jar and I'll add it to a jar that I keep in the refrigerator. And each time, every day, when I keep it out on the counter, I feed my starter, my discard jar grows larger and larger. Sourdough discard, if you don't know, contains many health benefits. Very similar to sourdough starter, the discard has health benefits and a delicious flavor that is perfect to add to so many recipes. Endless amounts of recipes, really. And today I am making a sourdough pie crust that I will usually keep in the freezer until I feel like making either a pie or a pot pie or what I'm going to be making this week, which is sourdough PopTarts for my kids. So I just mix the sourdough starter with some flour, sugar, salt, water, and a little vinegar, and I will just shape that into a disc, put it in the fridge, and let that chill for a few hours or a day until I'm ready to use it. When you do use your sourdough discard, it is important to stir down the bubbles so that you get an accurate measurement, because the weight will vary based on how bubbly your sourdough starter is at the time. So stirring down those bubbles will help give your recipe just a more consistent texture and amount. With this pie crust, I grate a stick of butter first into the bowl and into the flour, salt, sugar mixture, and I get that all stirred up before I will add my sourdough discard and vinegar. And then I will shape it into a disc and just kind of flatten it out a little with the rolling pin and put that in the fridge for up to 3 days or into the freezer for up to about 3 months or so. My kids love to help me with my baking, especially my youngest. She is the little baker in the family, and she just loves all things baking and cooking, and she just loves to help. My other two love to help as well. It's always fun to let them come around and help me out and learn a little bit too. So I put the pie crust away in the refrigerator, and I'm moving on to making some sourdough tortillas that we will be using for our dinner tonight, which I will be making some chicken fajitas with homemade sourdough tortillas. My family loves them, and they're really quick and easy to throw together. For the sourdough tortillas, I just mixed together some water, sourdough discard, all-purpose flour, sea salt, baking powder, and coconut oil. And I just mix that all up together and let it sit on the counter for about 30 minutes before I will shape them into 8 sections and roll each one out into a ball. And then I will put them on a cast iron pan and cook them up for a few minutes on each side. And we will have our sourdough tortillas to go with our dinner. So next I am making sourdough brownies. These are my husband's favorite, and we are making these for Father's Day. He likes to have these with a little vanilla ice cream. And it is just a stick of butter melted with some semi-sweet chocolate chips and cocoa powder, a little vanilla, and then there's 2 large eggs and an egg yolk, just white sugar, brown sugar, and then I will add 125 grams of sourdough discard, all-purpose flour and salt. Get that all mixed up and in the oven, and they are so amazing and so delicious. The sourdough just gives them a little tiny bit of a tanginess that is just so good with the ice cream. Just a really good dessert option for chocolate lovers. We just love this one so much. So my sourdough pie crust has been in the fridge for a couple of days now, and I'm ready to use it. My kids are requesting sourdough PopTarts, so I will just roll it out into a rectangular shape and trim off the shaggy edges, get it nice and straight, and cut it into usually four longer sections that can be folded down once you add your filling. And I will first brush an egg wash along the sides so that after I add my filling, the sides will crimp together and stay nicely. So I'm going to do 2 with some strawberry jam. My son is not a big fan of strawberry jam, so I'm just gonna do a little bit of cinnamon and sugar mixture in a couple other ones, which ended up being so good. I loved those ones too, and I just love strawberry jam as well. And they were both really good. So I'm now folding them in half, and I'm going to be sealing and crimping the edges. I actually made these a little bit long, but it just worked out perfectly because I was able to just cut them in half, and I would have 8, and I ended up using the extra to make one more little square Pop-Tart that did look a little more like a traditional Pop-Tart shape, but my kids did not mind. They were delicious. And after I folded them over, I did brush the whole thing with another layer of egg wash to give them a nice browning on top. And then I mixed up a little bit of powdered sugar and water to make a nice glaze on top. And I ended up sprinkling that with a little bit of sanding sugar as well, just really fast because that hardens really quickly. And they were just so delicious. My whole family loved them. So this night for dinner, we decided it was a busy day. We were running around a lot with kids' activities. So I decided to mix up some sourdough discard pizza. And I am just going to be mixing a little bit of sourdough discard with some cornmeal and flour, salt, olive oil, and I do use a little bit of yeast in this recipe as well so that it comes together much quicker and rises nicely and gives us a nice airy, delicious pizza crust. So once I get that all mixed in, I will leave the pizza crust out on the counter for about 30 minutes just to give it a quick rise, and then I will just divide it into as many little pizzas as we are going to use, or you can just keep it in one big pizza, but my kids love to make their own. So this is my daughter shaping her pizza. I ended up dividing it into 4 little personal pizzas, and my younger 2 just shared theirs. And we just had so much fun with it. I kept mine really simple with just a butter sauce, and they were all really fun and quick and easy. So I hope you enjoyed watching our sourdough discard recipes for this week, and I will see you guys in the next one.